I'm Al Ferguson, lead anchor at Queer News Tonight. Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, welcomes you to the 25th anniversary year of one of the most important LGBTQ plus cultural events celebrating queer film. The Outshine Film Festival has its triumphant return to Fort Lauderdale from October 19th to 29th, 2023. And this special program is going to explore the highlights and the best moments coming for the 15th anniversary of the Fort Lauderdale edition of the Outshine Film Festival. To help us, we have brought together a dazzling array of talent. Let's first welcome Jennifer Kriz. She has a long history of representing lesbians and queer women at the Outshine Film Festival and serves as the vice chair of the board of the festival. Let's welcome Bonnie Builder. Bonnie represents this unique brand of drag queen and a badass fitness instructor bodybuilder. She is an activist for the Black community, and her sharp eye and her very sharp tongue is going to give us a unique perspective to the Outshine Film Festival. Let's welcome Faye What? She represents lesbians and queer women and is a well-known television personality and the host of the Faye What Show, Mondays at 9 a.m. and then on demand on Roku, Apple TV, and all streaming platforms on the Happening Out Television Network. Let's welcome Dino Mascara. He represents the Latino community and has vast film experience with the Outshine Film Festival, including the Outshine Miami Edition Selections Committee Chair. Let's welcome Miss Bouvier. She is a talented drag queen, live singer, actress, and now movie star. Can we say pretty woman? Can you say Hollywood? Well, she is the lead in the new movie Big Easy Queens that will premiere in this Outshine Film Festival. And of course, let's welcome Joe Balancio, literally one of the world's most well-known and respected LGBTQ plus film experts. As the Outshine Film Festival's program director, he has seen all 60 plus films in this year's festival. Wait, I understand all 60 plus films but one, and I can't wait to find out which one. Outshine Film Festival, Friday, October 20, brings 4 great LGBTQ plus films to Gateway Theater. The first weekend at Outshine Film Festival begins Friday, October 20th at Fort Lauderdale's Gateway Theater. 4 films will be featured, including Norwegian Dream, a coming-of-age gay romance film where Robert, 19 years old, a Polish immigrant working at a fish factory in Norway, has come to earn money to pay off his mother's debts. Robert realizes he has feelings for his colleague, Ivar, who is 19, for fear of losing the position within a group of Poles at the factory. He hides his feelings, especially when it turns out that Ivar is an aspiring drag queen. Norwegian Dream is a beautiful, gorgeous set in Norway, and Norwegian landscape is the set that you're going to watch. Also, there's going to be Fancy Dance. This USA film is a lesbian drama and was acclaimed at Sundance and South by Southwest film festivals. Following her sister's disappearance, a Native American hustler kidnaps her niece from the child's white grandparents and sets out for the state powwow in hopes of keeping what's left of their family intact. You can also see The Lost Boys. It is a Belgian feature and was featured in the Berlinale and Frameline film festivals. The Lost Boys tells the coming-of-age story in a juvenile reform center governed by the prohibition of physical contact. Joe and William fall in love. Loving each other will even be more challenging when one is going to be set for release. Love can be great, but is freedom greater? You can also see The Judgment. It is a feature from Egypt. The film follows a gay couple returning from the U.S. to Egypt for a family emergency. This forces the couple back into the closet as they attempt to pass as just friends in a country where homosexuality is forbidden. As the pervasive tension of dangerous homophobia rises around them, they begin to fear that they have fallen prey to witchcraft as punishment for their homosexual sins, causing one of them to fall into religious terror and exposing his unhealed past. Directed by Egyptian filmmaker Marwan Makbi, with a sexy Egyptian cast, The Judgment is a unique queer psychological horror story sure to please fans of the genre as well as anyone looking for a different kind of love story. And this film is part of Outshine Film Festival's unique After Dark program to celebrate queer horror and Halloween. So our first big night, Joe, tell us about what we can expect. It'll be our first evening in the Gateway Theater.
And it's a good one. I think it's Frankie Valli who said, "Oh, what a night." Well, that's fitting. The thing I really like about this night, in films in general, is that they're not only films that celebrate being queer and who we are, but they also celebrate culture. You learn about the immigration experience in Poland. Fancy Dance, it's like they're on a reservation. They live in Oklahoma, yet it's a world apart. And then The Judgment. We don't often see films from Egypt. And you mentioned sort of the horror aspect, but it's really much more psychological. So people who aren't necessarily a fan of what I'll call gore, they can really enjoy this. It really, at the core of all of these stories is just love. It's who we are, and it's loving each other. And again, the culture component for me sort of elevates it beyond what could be a typical gay love story. So they're all fantastic. The Lost Boys was. Yes.
I just wanted to ask you, the four films that are going to premiere on the Friday, first evening at Gateway. Do you have a favorite of the four?
The lesbian one.
You can't do that. They're also, that's the other joy, is that they're really also different. They sort of hit on other notes. And, I always say such and such would be my favorite. And then I'm like, but who am I talking to?
Yeah. We hear you. Okay. Thank you for being politically correct. But pick your favorite child. Which is your favorite child on Friday night?
Exactly. I haven't, but I'm not telling you.
Oh, he did say? Oh,
he said it with his face. He said it with his face. Yeah,
I heard it.
They're all so good. But the Lost Boys is really probably the most complete and the most sort of, it raises so many points. It's like, here you are about to be released and freedom is right next door, but you have somebody who you've really fallen in love with. And is it more important to sort of be with that person or to gain this freedom? So, it's a decision many of us don't have to choose. But in the movie, they're forced to choose.
We've all thought about it.
Yes, because we've all watched Orange is the New Black.
Yes, exactly. And we loved it.
Some of us were trying to break into prison, so we get it. So out of all these movies, I have to see the lesbian one. That's the one I really want to see. Not just because it's a lesbian film, but I love that it's spotlighting Native American culture. How cool is that, right? And it's fancy pants. Like, what a great fancy dance. Excuse me. And you have to wear your fancy pants to do your fancy dance, okay? But I love that, and that is literally is a dance started by the Ponca tribe, so I love that they're doing this.
We rarely get to see a gay film that has showcases Native Americans. So it was really special when we received this film. And Fancy Dance is a play on words with what they're doing. I don't want to talk about the story other than to say you can't miss it. It really is a special film. Joe, is this one playing on at home, or is it just you see it here?
No, it's just on Friday night.
Festival.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw Norwegian Dream and actually loved it. I think it's a great film, and it shows something very interesting that is happening in Europe very much these days, and it's migration, and discrimination of the immigrants, but this is discrimination of white immigrants. So these are Poles that are migrating to like many Eastern Europeans migrating to the West. to the Scandinavian countries, to the UK, to the, France and Germany. But you see how the Poles are treated within the Norwegian society. And it shows Norway beautifully. I mean, the fjords and the south of Norway. And it's very interesting how they have to face this discrimination at the workplace. Everywhere.
One of the films that I zeroed in on for this Friday night at Outshine is The Judgment. Because first, an LGBT-themed film from Egypt is incredibly unusual. Faye and I are both going when the festival ends. We will be leaving just a few days after with 60 people from South Florida, and we're going to the Eastern Mediterranean, and we have an event at the Giza Plateau.
Let me correct you. Faye, Al, and Bonnie are going.
Right?
They just
right. Wow. And one of the things that is incredibly clear of what goes on in the Middle East, and especially in Egypt, is LGBT is not embraced, and you have to find ways to hide it, change it, protect it, but still live some life. And The Judgment, I thought was quite interesting.
And these are people that actually tasted freedom and then had to go back to their home country. So, that showing you, what it is to, have, left your home country and live freely and, proudly gay, and then now have to go back and face this.
Yeah.
Well, this is, go ahead, Joe.
It's also a great example of, we have a lot of these films that I say, you can take at face value and they're interesting, compelling stories, or you can really sort of dive into, more the issues behind the scenes and what's really going on. Is there really, witchcraft, or is it just the homosexuality that is the force to be reckoned with in the room? And so it's, to me, a lot of those layered stories, and this is certainly one of those. And I don't usually mention this, it's usually Mark's prerogative, but the cast is beautiful.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I agree with you.
Well, and the joke that you make there, that Mark Gilbert, the acting executive director of the Outshine, his choice. But we have to surrender this Friday night, October 20th. We have an overwhelming majority of women at the table, and apparently the lesbian film is definitely going to win.
Thank you.
You can't miss Friday, October 20th, the first night at Gateway. Make sure you don't miss it. We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.